Green screens can transport characters to any place you can imagine. They're used in all types of films, whether you realize it or not. And they don't even have to be green. If you want to do this yourself, it's fairly simple to do, but if you plan on doing this long term, I highly recommend investing in some proper equipment. In this video, I'm going to be going over how to actually film yourself in front of a green screen. If you want to learn how to key yourself after the fact in editing, check the video in the description, I'll go over it there. One of the most important things you need to do, even before filming, is figuring out what your green screen is going to be used for. As you can see around me, I don't have the best setup for doing a whole lot of movement, but for my use case, which is just still shots with little to no movement, kind of hands, this works great for me. However, if you're planning on fighting in front of an army, or doing... Jesus Christ, that guy's good. You might need some more space to film. You might think you could just plop down a colored screen and call it a day, but if you want the best look possible, it's good to have some lights. Ideally, you want to have 2 lights on the background and 2 on yourself. They should be the same color temperature just to make things even out, but some people like to use colored lights for the background or in front. It just depends on your style. Now to set up the camera. Wait, nope. No. We still have to talk about what to wear. Fashion is important, though not in the way you might think. What you want to wear doesn't matter, but the color definitely does. As you might see from the color wheel behind me, these are the types of colors you might see for colored screens. Picking out clothing that matches or is at least similar enough to the background you choose can make you look partially invisible, which you do not want. Unless you do, in which case, forget what I said. Alright, now we could set up the camera. The type of camera you choose is really up to you, but what we're interested in is the setting. I'm using the iPhone 14 Pro with a Blackmagic camera app, but if you have an Android, the Pro Video mode in the default camera app works just fine. Go over to the shutter speed and set it to somewhere between 1/80 and 1/100. This will reduce any motion blur that you might get by default. For the lens, it really depends on what your scene is going to look like. In my case, I need a medium shot, so the best lens that works for me with the available space that I have is the default 24mm on my iPhone 14 Pro. But if I needed a more wide-angle shot, I would use my 18mm lens that I use for the specific phone case called Freewell, if anyone's interested in buying them. Finally, it's time to start filming. I've mentioned this before, but it's good to already have your scene planned out before actually getting all this started. Having to shoot multiple times is inevitable. So if you're doing any sort of movement, it's good to have some sort of marker to show you where you started and where you will end up in a scene. Since I don't have to show my waist, I can get away with using some tape and marking my position. But if you're doing full body shots, you have to be a little more creative on how you hide those markers. And you're done! If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. And for those of you now wanting to learn how to get into the editing side of things, click on this video right here, and I'll see you guys there.